guys. I hope everyone is well and safe. We are ending school soon, and I wanted to encourage you guys to stay on top of things, stay on task, make it a strong finish. I hope you're using this time to read your Bible and doing your quiet times, maybe even learning a verse or two. I wish we can get together soon.
Hey guys, welcome to Wednesday night at UHSM here with BJ
Hello.
and Holly.
Yes.
We're glad you are with us.
Yeah, wherever you're watching from, home, on your phone, on the other side of the world, we're just glad that we can be with you. And hey, we'd like to kick some things off, have some fun. We do a little thing called quick quarantine questions where the parents go into the room and ask kids some questions. And so we thought you would like that. They're all winners and everything like that. So we just thought we'd ask the questions here. You get to see what the parents did. Here we go.
You can catch coronavirus from eating Chinese food in the U.S.
No.
Number 2. Which state has the highest amount of confirmed COVID-19 cases? Are you awake?
Louise, I don't know.
Come on, 5 seconds.
California.
Number 3. What day will Texas Governor Greg Abbott's stay-at-home order expire? April 30th?
May 1st.
I'm not done with the answers. On Thursday?
Gosh.
Never, or both A and B?
Both A and B.
And we have a tiebreaker just in case. How many eggs does the average American eat in a year?
300.
All right. Thank you, Nathan.
Okay, it's time for quick quarantine questions. You ready?
No.
Why? I'm gonna ask you a question. You have 5 seconds to answer it.
It's way too early.
True or false? You can catch the coronavirus from eating Chinese food in the United States.
Yes.
Which state has the highest amount of confirmed COVID-19 cases?
New York.
Multiple choice. What day will Texas Governor Greg Abbott's stay-at-home order expire?
May 19th.
A, April 30th. B, on Thursday. C, never. D, both A and B.
May 19th.
That wasn't an option. April 30th, on Thursday. Never, both A and B.
Thursday.
Okay, how many eggs does the average American eat in a year?
A lot.
Is that your final answer?
Yep.
Okay. Have a good day.
Hope you guys had fun with the questions and the answers.
We're glad everybody was clothed this week.
Yes, that helps. And hey, we got a little tricky on one of the questions. It was both A and B, but we just want to keep you ready for...
No, I'm not ready for Star. I
Okay.
don't want to prepare them for Star.
Well,
He's just trying to be tricky.
We
He
want to
thinks
do
he
our
works
part.
for TEA.
It's just fun, but it is fun to watch the parents go in there and have some fun with their kiddos and all the kind of looks and everything. I think Cade was at 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah, if you zoom in on that time, Michelle, you were waking that boy up early.
5:30. Anyway, had a good time with that. they all win something, because if they're going to allow us to show that, I mean, they deserve something. So we're going to give all of them a gift card in the mail.
Thanks for being great sports.
Absolutely. Thanks for letting us just do that and have some fun, because we'll talk about it afterwards when we finally get to all be together. So it was fun. Hey, we also have Cade Edney, another worship song from Cade. And so, again, it's just a blast to get to watch this kid lead out. And, man, we're going to miss him when he goes off to college later this year. So, Cade, thanks for leading us in worship, and hope you enjoy this time.
How great the chasm that lay between us. How high the mountain I could not climb. In desperation, I turned to heaven and spoke your name into the night. Then through the darkness, your loving kindness tore through the shadows of my soul. The work is finished, the end is risen. Jesus Christ, my living hope. Who could imagine so great a mercy? What heart could fathom such boundless grace? The God of ages stepped down from glory to wear my sin and bear my shame. The cross has spoken, I am forgiven. The King of Kings calls me his own. Beautiful Savior, I'm yours forever. Jesus Christ, my living hope. Hallelujah, praise the one who set me free. Hallelujah, death has lost its grip on me. You have broken every chain. There's salvation in your name, Jesus Christ, my living hope. Hallelujah, praise the one who set me free. Hallelujah, death has lost its grip on me. You have broken every chain. There's salvation in your name, Jesus Christ, my living hope. Then came the morning that sealed the promise. Your buried body began to breathe. Out of the silence, the roaring lion declared the grave has no claim on me. Then came the morning that sealed the promise. Your buried body began to breathe. Out of the silence, the roaring lion
Thanks again, Cade. We appreciate you leading us. We want to jump right in now to the teaching time. We've been in a storytelling series and talking about parables that Jesus tells. And basically, a parable is a story with a spiritual point. There's a lesson that can be learned. And so, and also in the parables, there's usually these audiences that have these different views of who Jesus must be talking to or who he must not be talking to, or they think the story is going to go one way, and usually there's a little bit of a plot twist.
Yeah, like take this one, for example, we're going to talk about. It deals with feeling left out. You know, we've all been there, right? Where we feel left out of something, not included, not invited. But, but this plays out in a more contemporary way.
Yeah, I think with social media, it just adds to the everybody feeling not included, or I missed out on something, or the whole FOMO thing.
Fear of missing out.
Yes. So you were scrolling through social media and you realize a bunch of your friends got together and had some party or had some event, and they've tagged everybody, and there's, the 10 pictures that can go on Instagram right there, and or there's videos to go with it, and you're not in it, and you didn't get invited, and you weren't included, and nobody even told you about it, and you feel very alone and left out and frustrated.
Yeah, and you begin to believe some lies that, well, maybe I don't belong there. Maybe I don't. Maybe there's certain people who don't belong there. And, we would be lying if we thought we didn't think that way, even with church. Sometimes we tend to believe that some people belong in church and some people don't. I mean, we can buy into that because maybe the way someone acts at school, or maybe someone, they treat other people, but we can fall into that trap too, can't we?
We get really judgy with ourselves and judgy with others because we think, well, I haven't behaved enough, or I haven't believed enough, or I haven't been good enough. That's kind of the scale that we use. If someone's behaving and believing and being good, then they're going to be included. They're going to be invited. They belong to the group. And so we tend to do that to ourselves, and then we judge others in that same capacity. But in all honesty, that doesn't come from Jesus at all.
No, as a matter of fact, the story we're going to look at, Jesus is talking about this party and this banquet, and he's inviting people to it. And here's the thing, at Jesus' party, there's always room for more.
Yeah.
At Jesus' party, there's always room for more. And so
and he keeps searching, and he keeps looking for people who want to come.
Yeah. And so we'll look at that in this story today. So we're going to be in Luke chapter 14, and we're going to see this. If you wanted to check in, what kind of party does Jesus throw, or what kind of people would Jesus invite to his party? We get a really good look at this thing in Luke chapter 14, right?
Right. Luke chapter 14, verses 16 through 21. It says, Jesus replied, "A certain man was preparing a great banquet and invited many guests." So this isn't just your, oh, hey, do you have plans for lunch? No, I don't either. Oh, well, let's just go grab some lunch after church. And yeah, it's not a big deal. No, this is a great banquet. This is like gala or prom or your wedding reception. This has lots of planning that's happened, lots of stuff that's gone into this. It's a great banquet, and with lots of guests.
You have marked it on your calendar, and you were going to be there because it took a lot of time and money.
Yep. At the time of the banquet, though, so like as it's supposed to be starting, he sent a servant to tell those who have been invited, "Come, for everything is now ready." But they all alike began to make excuses. And there's one who says, "I've bought a field." Another one who says, "I've bought oxen." Another one who says, "I got married." And my thought is, if you had already RSVP'd to this party and you knew you were getting married, I hope your wife is mad at you. And you deserve it. And if you had already RSVP'd to this party, why would you go buy a field on this day or a bunch of oxen? Can't you do that later? Like, you said yes to this first. Don't wait for something better to come up and then cancel on the person who invited you. That's basically what's happened.
So you have these people being invited to the party. At some point in time, they probably said yes. And now they're making excuses. So what is
While the party's starting.
So what does the host do?
He gets mad and ordered his servant, "Go out quickly into the streets and the alleys of the town and bring in the poor, the crippled, the blind, and the lame." And I'm just going to say, I'd be angry too.
Yeah.
If it's this kind of party, this kind of caliber party, and this many people who've been invited, I've been cleaning for days. I've been cooking for days. I have all the events planned out. I've got the DJ there. I mean, the whole, there's a list of to-dos that have been done.
So,
and now you're going to tell me you're not coming at the minute that my party is supposed to be starting?
So that's the tension we're feeling here. We see that. that, because for us, we think we would get to this point and go, well, just change the date, right? If all these people who were impressive and added more to your party because they were there, all of a sudden said, I can't make it now, even though we would look at their excuses and go, that's a pretty lame excuse. There's a part of us that would think, well, just change the date. It's not that big of a deal.
Make it convenient.
Yeah, make it convenient for everybody. But it's not about changing the date. It's about changing maybe who, not changing who was invited, but helping us see that, hey, it's
There's
a
always
lot
room.
more. Yeah, there's
Yep,
always
there's always
room. For
room.
more.
So those people don't want to come. So I'll go invite, again, the crippled, the blind, and the lame. And we don't really know who we invited to the first party, but probably the people who are listening, and even us may think, oh, it was probably the cool people. Especially if you're going to throw that big of a party. So this is where the plot twist comes in. Instead of, like you said, changing the date, he just goes and invites more people. I've got food ready. I've got music ready to play. We've got activities that we're like, we're going to have fun, and I'm going to make sure somebody gets to enjoy this. I'm not wasting what I've done.
Not wasting time and wasting what we've done. And here's the part that we get to in the story that we get to celebrate, is that at Jesus' party, there is always room for more.
Well, and he keeps searching. And I would say that at this point, too, like, you could almost divide the guest list into two categories. And I think it's important to remember that invitations have to be accepted to be meaningful. So for that first group, they probably did accept an invitation at some point in time, and then something better came along and they decided, well, I'm just not going to do that. And so maybe that's those of us who feel like, I've been walking with Jesus a while, or I think I've got this God thing down, or as long as what he plans works in with my plans, because my plans are pretty important, then I'll go with his plans. And so maybe that's the group of people who need to realize, when you've been invited on this great adventure with God, he wants you to realize that his plans are way better than anything you could plan. But then there's this flip side of people also that you would think, and the people in the crowd listening to the story would probably think, nobody would invite those. The crippled, the lame, like, we let those people go beg. Like you've said before, those are the people who they believed, you've done something so incredibly awful, you deserve what you got. But Jesus is inviting those people to the party. Those are the ones who are believing the lie that you have to behave and you have to believe and you have to be good enough to be invited. And Jesus is saying, I've invited you. So you don't have to be any of those things. You just have to accept my invitation for it to be meaningful, for us to have that relationship.
Yeah, I think that's the important part, isn't it? Everyone's invited. No one is left out. Remember what we were talking about before about feeling left out. No one's left out. And what's so big about that is that as you feel this invitation, as you know that Jesus is not just, he's not just making this stuff up as he goes along. And he's not just saying, well, I guess so-and-so said no, so I guess I've got to invite this. The intention was there all along for everyone to be invited, that there's room for his party. For those who think they think more of themselves than they ought to, but also for those who think, I would never get an invite. I would see that posted on social media and go, yeah, I know I'm not invited. And so the invitation's there. There's always room at Jesus' party. But we have to get to the point where we have to make this very personal. We have to look out in the highways and the byways. We have to think, who needs the invitation?
Well, and I think, too, it's important to remember that a lot of times whatever side we're on, believe you have to behave or believe or be good enough. And sometimes we're thinking that the ones who are doing that have it all together, and that's not necessarily the truth either. Jesus is inviting us all, just like last week with the son who had run away and thought he had to get it all together to come back to his father, and he could only be a servant, and his father's running to meet him because he's coming back. There's always room to be at Jesus's party. There's always a place for us, and that's why he tells this story. It's not his belief that we have to be good enough.
Yeah.
And I think he proves that too with the people that he picked to follow him. If you look at his disciples, they were a hot mess at times.
Hot mess is a good word.
Yeah, Judas betrayed him. Peter was a hothead. Thomas was a doubter. James and John were competitors. I'll be at the right hand. No, I will. They were fighting like small children.
Even their mom stepped in there.
Yeah. Mary and Martha were women, and in that culture, they wouldn't have been ones who were invited. Mary Magdalene was not a well thought of lady.
Questionable. And you have Matthew as a tax collector. You know, someone who was a Jew, but he worked for the Romans, and he took money from the Jewish people to give back to the Romans, who they were kind of, you know, taking over their territory. And so, I mean, you've got all these people who Jesus, we would look at, well, especially the Pharisees would look at. And as a matter of fact, we even read in Acts later, they were unschooled and ordinary men.
And this is who Jesus chose to bring along beside him and use to change the whole world once he ascended into heaven. And so if he's saying everybody's invited and this is who I will invite, then as his followers, first of all, we need to realize we are invited also, but then we have to be the ones who also become the inviters.
Absolutely. So here's the big thing. At Jesus' party, there's always room for more. Everyone is invited, and there's someone out there who needs an invitation. Someone in your circle who needs an invitation. We invite you to maybe write their names down in your notes section on your phone, in a journal if you keep it, maybe even in your Bible, in the front part of your Bible. Write their names down and begin praying for them and begin saying, you know, how can I serve them? How can I get into a conversation with them? How can I make sure they know they're invited to the party? So that's what Jesus wants us to do this week. Hey, we look forward to, hopefully hearing you jumping into a digital community. If you don't know about that, visit our website, uhbc.net/students. You can get all the information there. Hey, we love you guys, and one of these days, we shall meet again in person.
Hallelujah.